What's up, y'all? I've got some great news for you today. Jack Young is in the house, and this man just landed a 75K fully remote tech sales role in just 60 days. He's here to tell us all about his experience with the SWORD program. Jack, thank you for being here, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Super excited.
Absolutely. This is a good day, man. So first, tell us what life was like for you before even coming across SWORD. What were you doing? How was that?
Yeah, well, before I got started, it was very stressful. I was previously in another sales position, which I had left, and after that, I was just driving Uber full time, and that was a very stressful and kind of a scary time, to be completely honest. Um, there were mornings that I woke up every now and then just like, worried about, was I going to be able to make ends meet? Was I going to have enough money for rent? All of this stuff. And the scary part was I felt like I lacked a plan for what I wanted to do next with my career and all of that stuff. And so I had been on the fence for a while as to like, do I want to continue pursuing sales or go back into the environmental industry? Because, so sorry, my dog here jacked it up. And I knew like I'd be able to go back into the environmental industry, but it wasn't something I was interested in doing whatsoever, to be completely honest. And so the reason I had been on the fence was because in my mind, for sales, the only options out there, at least what I thought at the time, were, full commission jobs, 1099, no benefits. I'd be an independent contractor and all of that. And the environmental route kind of had this sense of security in it. And so where things took a turn was I went to my friend's wedding, and his younger brother, works in tech sales. And I was talking to him about this stuff. And that was the first time I had actually ever heard about tech sales. I was like, wait a second, they pay you like a base salary and you get these benefits and all of that stuff. And so I started looking into it more, and literally maybe 2-3 days later, I'm just scrolling Instagram, came across your page, and I'd been, taking a look at it for a few days. Or no, I don't even think that was the case. I think I just shot you a follow, and then right away you sent me a DM, and we scheduled a call. Eventually, enrolled in the program a couple of days later.
Wow.
And yeah, things have just, I feel a very strong sense of relief right now. I'm super excited to get started at this new offer. But I really feel like this is the start of my journey and my story and all of that. So it's been a great experience for me all around.
That's beautiful. That before and after story is one that took faith. It took a lot of hard work, and man, you did it. You did it in just 2 months. You made this wild transition. So super proud of you. There's a lot of resources out there, and there's a lot of different ways that people go about this journey into tech sales. For you, why did you pick Sword?
So for one, I mean, when I got on a call with you, I just knew that I could trust you. You were somebody I could trust. You also had your faith background, which was important for me as well. It's a big part of my life. And then those are the two main things that really just got me to choose this program. I knew that you had all of these, testimonials as well too, which is helpful. But even if you didn't, like, just from speaking with you on my first call, I was like, all right, this is a guy I can trust. He really wants to help people break into this industry. And I didn't even feel like I was taking a risk. Like when I enrolled, I knew eventually things would work out, and they did. And so those are the two main reasons I decided to go with Sword.
Honored, man, honored. And a lot of people I talk to, even in those calls, they really find themselves on the fence because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to make an investment in yourself. It's uncomfortable to commit to a career change. So what would you tell those people that are on the fence? They think they want tech sales, but they're kind of on that fence. Do I go all in or not?
Yeah, I mean, I would do research into tech sales and make sure that it is what you want to do. And if you decide that, breaking into this industry is what you want to do and you could, you benefit from it, then I would say just go for it. Like don't be on the fence. Like this program it's gonna help you. It's gonna teach you a lot of stuff along the way. When I was hesitant to get on a call with you in the first place because, I had worked in sales before this, and one of the things that I didn't want to be that person that, shows up and just being like, oh, I'm just here for more information. Because I wasn't here for more information, but I was also not in the best place financially. So, I knew there would be an investment into this program. And I thought what would happen with our call is I would tell you my situation and, it would be, I'd hopefully come up with a plan with you to, save money over time and then, hopefully enroll in it further down the road. But we were able to figure it out right there on the call. And if you want to get into tech sales, like I say just go for it. Like you'll benefit from this program. So
Amazing. It takes boldness. It takes boldness to bet on yourself at the end of the day. With regard to my coaching style, working directly with me, what's something that sticks out to you? What's something that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, so there was this one coaching session we did together, and this is where I knew how much you cared about your client's success. We were preparing for a mock call that I had, and and this is some feedback I had gotten in my previous offer. I was, speaking with upward inflection in areas where I shouldn't have. And just from opening up the call, you're like, nope, stop, do it again. And then you're like, run it back, do it again. And we sat there until I got it right. And then I kept doing it over and over just to make sure I had it down. And so there was that, you wanted to make sure that, we really had these skills dialed in, especially when it, with things like tonality and stuff like that. But also just, the interview prep is one of the things that I got a ton of value out of this program for. One of the big questions that you get asked a lot in interviews is like, tell me about yourself. And it seems like a lot of people get, they stumble on that question because it's like, oh, where do I start? And you walked me through a framework to use. And so anytime that question came up, it was just like, boom, I was ready to go, and always got like great feedback during my interviews for my response to that question. And just like all the questions that came up, like I felt very prepared going into every interview. It was as if like, no matter what question they asked me, like I'll have an answer for it. And if I didn't, because there were a few interviews where I get something thrown at me that I was not ready for, but I use that as a learning experience. I brought that into our coaching sessions, and that way I'd be prepared for it if it came up in the future. But really just, your willingness to work with us one-on-one, and any time that I had a question or struggling with something, like you were readily available and just super helpful throughout the entire process. So
I'm really big on interviewing being a skill. It's a skill that once you learn how to do it effectively, it's probably you carry that with you the rest of your career. And it's not just new jobs, it's also internally going for promotions and stuff. You approach it the same way. And so Jack, you have the skill set now that you're going to carry forth for the rest of your career. And
100.
Absolutely. What do you feel like, apart from landing a 75K role, fully remote, SIP company, like all of that is obviously why we came here. But apart from all of that, what do you think is like one of the biggest things we achieved together?
I think just my overall levels of confidence. that would probably be the biggest thing for me is, you know, you always stress, do the job to get the job. Don't be afraid to be annoying. And, that was a big thing that I got out of this program, but just all of the preparation that we did together, preparing for interviews and running through mock calls and different ways to stand out, to land interviews in the first place. It, it wasn't easy. There was a ton of work that went into this, on my end, but it really did a lot for myself when it comes to just like my overall confidence and, not coming across as insecure, something that we had to work on. And, that's what I would say is the biggest thing that I got out of this program that I'll take with me throughout the rest of my career. So can't thank you enough for that, to be honest.
Of course. And I think it's easy to look at, a story like yours and you get the big title reveal of, 75K fully remote tech sales, and it looks so cool. The reality is that there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, but there was also rejection. Like you had, I think, a couple situations where we could have sworn you would have gotten that offer and they went a different way. So what would your advice be to someone who's kind of like, man, this is such a not working out. I keep making progress and keep, hitting these dead ends. What would you tell that person?
Yeah, just don't give up. I mean, there is a couple times, maybe like 4 or 5 different companies where I made it to the finish line, the final round of interviews, and then something happened, whether I fumbled that interview by messing up a question, or they just decided to go with a different candidate. You start to, I did at times have doubts creeping in, but I knew that if I stuck with it, like it was eventually going to work out. And you need to just trust the process. If you don't give up, you trust the process, and you're constantly looking for feedback, like you will eventually land a role. And I just want to throw this out there too, because I mentioned it to you before, but for myself, like one of my goals was to have a job before my birthday, which is November 5th. And we were in like the second week of October, and I had, I think, 1 interview cycle going at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I get to this point? Like, am I going to be able to pull it off? And we had a one-on-one, and it just really gave me that extra motivation to, send out more than 5 applications a day. And then, within a week, I think it was in a week after that conversation, I had received an offer and found out that they were going to be starting me the day before my birthday. So when I found that out, I was like,
well, God was a million percent involved in that. It's just a nice little birthday gift for you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree. Like it's no different than being in a real sales role where it's like we put all our hope in, I got to book a meeting today, right? It's going to be this prospect that books a meeting, but you just have to stay detached, and you just have to keep planting good seeds, and the good fruit will come. Like Jesus says, if you make a tree good, the fruit will be good. So just the inputs, good inputs. And we kept you there, and you kept yourself there just by, okay, I'm going to keep going, trust the process. And I think had you not done that, had you let the fear and the anxiety start to play in, would have died out, right? Yeah. But you kept fighting, and here you are, a company that you're truly pumped about too.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the big thing too. It's just like staying detached from the outcome, focus on your inputs, stay consistent with it, and it will work out. So,
yeah. So the last question I have for you is, there's a ton of people out there still looking for tech sales jobs. They're struggling. What's one thing you learned in this program that you think if they knew would really help them out?
I think the biggest thing is, there's going to be sometimes hundreds of candidates applying for a single position, and you do have to stand out. Like most of the time, people are just sending in an application and their resume and doing nothing else. And even just from going on LinkedIn, you can read hiring managers' posts, and they're like, we had 400 applicants for this position. Only 15 people sent emails. One person cold called me. One person sent me a video message. So it's like the bar is pretty low to stand out. So it's like, don't be afraid to, you know, I want to say go above and beyond, but just sending an email to the hiring manager, trying to call them, shooting them a message on LinkedIn, be creative with your message too. Send them a video. You will stand out if you do stuff like that. And it's, once you start doing it regularly, you know, it becomes easy to, you know, follow that process. So I would say just, you know, go above and beyond. It's really, it doesn't take a lot to stand out amongst hundreds of applicants. You know, the bar really is set pretty low with just the way most people are approaching it. So that would be my piece of advice.
That's the advice. Like, do the job to get the job. I mean,
Exactly.
I've had a ton of open roles that I've hired for, and those numbers you just shared are consistent. And still, even the other day, we shared another one where those exact numbers came through, thousands of applicants.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like one cold call, by the way, that was like one of our people.
Yeah.
So let's go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it really isn't that hard to stand out, but you have to be willing to do the work. But the good thing is you're going to get the job if you do the work. And two, you're prepping yourself to go do the same job.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're already in a good rhythm with it. So Jack, I've got no doubt that you're going to absolutely destroy this role. I can't wait to see where you are in like 1, 2, 3 years, and quick progression, one Jack to another. I'm super proud of you, man. And God is so good.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I mean, I'm very confident that things are going to go well at this role. And I feel that way because of the time I spent in this program. So I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.